What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Observant Lineman. In 2018, the Oakland Raiders made a blockbuster trade sending Khalil Mack to the Windy City in a move that many saw as a win for Chicago and loss for Oakland. Jon Gruden coming in as the new head coach, coming in with a new general manager. Many people looked at that and saw it as a situation of Jon Gruden just taking the reins of the organization and trying to clean the slate to get in the kind of players that he wants, instead of holding on to those veterans who have proven their worth through many Pro Bowl appearances, such as Khalil Mack. But it turns out, 1 year later, we're looking back at that move. It may very well have been a stroke of genius on Jon Gruden's part, because we're looking at a Chicago Bears squad that has about a 2.3% chance of making it into the playoffs. And it now looks like they may actually have a better shot at having to give up one of those first round picks that are inside of the top 10 back to the Oakland Raiders as part of the deal in that trade. Now, if the Chicago Bears actually do fall far enough to where they do have to give up that top 10 pick in 2020 to the Oakland Raiders, you have a situation now where, with a guy like Joe Burrow from LSU, who has been on fire this season, this could be a situation where Jon Gruden finds his franchise quarterback and will be able to actually build out that roster that he foresaw in his great wisdom as he made this trade with Khalil Mack. So in the short term, Chicago won that deal, but Jon Gruden was looking to the future. Jon Gruden was looking to build. And the scenario that was a possibility 12 months ago, now it seems like it may very well be a reality, with the Oakland Raiders getting a chance to get that top 10 pick, and they may have a plethora of good quarterbacks, quality quarterbacks to choose from. Let's look at the article. Now, here's a really important part of this article that really gets to the point of what I'm trying to get to in this video. Could the 2020 first round pick the Bears sent to the Raiders in the Khalil Mack trade be a top 5 pick? Back when the Raiders released Antonio Brown and looked to be in complete disarray, it was fair to wonder if the 2020 second round pick the Bears got from Oakland in the Mack trade would come in the first 5 selections of day 2 in the NFL draft. Now, 8 games into the season, the Bears have a greater chance of having a top 5 pick, 7.5%, than they do of making the playoffs, 2.6 per Football Outsiders. The most likely outcome of the Bears season is 6 wins and a first round pick owned by the Raiders around the 10th or 11th selection. So the Chicago Bears are seemingly going to lose out big in this Khalil Mack trade, simply because when you don't have an offense that can get things done on the field, and you can't score points, and you can't move the ball, and you leave a defense out there, no matter how good they are, that defense will begin to show its cracks and will begin to show its flaws and weaknesses after a certain amount of time of exposure. That's just the simple nature of football. But with this, we have here a situation where a general manager and the front office of a franchise can be made to look very bad, a slap to the face, even if the Oakland Raiders end up getting a top 10 pick because of the Chicago Bears falling down, in turn rising up on the draft board to pick earlier and earlier and earlier. You guys know how that goes. I think this is also vindication for Jon Gruden, because as a guy who already has a Super Bowl ring, who has taken multiple teams deep into the playoffs, he has the pedigree and he has the understanding. Along with Mike Mayock at GM, they have the understanding of what you need at your foundation for your football team to be successful. And draft picks are one of the most crucial ingredients to that. And it says here, as an aside, the Mack trade was still good for the Bears. That's not part of this debate. And I agree with that. I mean, Khalil Mack is an elite level talent, and you're not going to lose out necessarily in a bad way so much as you miss out on an opportunity that could have yielded you a player that could pay off down the road in the draft. The Bears have obviously not played up to expectations, with a lot of that being on the offensive side of the ball. Being able to remedy that kind of situation is not going to be simple. It's going to take them a while, and they don't have the help of a first round pick to get that done either. So it could be a really ugly situation on that front. But this is where the battle of the front offices comes into play. And with teams who have good front offices, are able to make good moves and able to have foresight into the future, then things can pay off for them in a big way as well. And you look at LSU, you look at Clemson, you look at Oklahoma, you look at these quarterbacks who are playing at extremely high levels at the college ranks. And now these guys are going to be highly sought after prospects coming into the NFL draft. So, that puts the Raiders in a great position. Maybe Jon Gruden isn't sold on Derek Carr as his quarterback. So even though he's having a decent season this year, he could be trade bait for next year, and they draft a quarterback and they move on from there. And, that's just the way of the business in the NFL. You're looking forward 3 years in every scenario where you trade a big time premier player, because at the end of the day, Khalil Mack being traded from Oakland gave them the flexibility to look for other players, gave them the flexibility to sign players. If they're able to make the playoffs this year, that would be huge for the franchise in Oakland. And it would just show exactly how things can be day and night with franchises over the course of a very, very little amount of time. Because it was only 12 months ago that we were looking at what seemed like the beginnings of a new Chicago dynasty, or a new era of dominance coming out of Chicago. And now we're not so sure about that. Whereas we looked at the Oakland Raiders last year and saw nothing but mediocrity and subpar talent, it appeared, on the team. And here we are 12 months later, and the Oakland Raiders are in complete control of their own destiny. So there is a lot that can happen in a 12-month span in football. And this just goes to show that, when you have a situation like Khalil Mack's, it can work out for both teams, but at the end of the day, it's who can win out and who can win the long game. And apparently, it looks like Oakland has a guy who is running their operation who understands how to do that. Hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Appreciate all you guys here. Hit the bell notifications to make sure that you are notified whenever I do put up a new video. I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
Perfect.